For every second that your website takes over 3 seconds to load, you lose 22% of your site visitors. Back in 2018, Google stated that speed is a ranking factor for mobiles. So today, I'm going to show you how to test your website speed. I'm Ronald, I'm from Osborne Digital Marketing. Let's jump straight into it. All right, guys, so as you saw from the intro, speed is a ranking factor. There's no doubt about it. Google said this way back in 2018. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a couple of different tools. 4 of the tools, 2 of them that Google has recommended that you're going to be able to go away and assess the speed of your website. So what we'll do right now is we'll grab my website and we'll do all the testing, and I'll explain what we're looking at, what to avoid, and when you should go in there and adjust the speed of your website. All right, let's just go in order. So you have GT Metrix. So GT Metrix, they're pretty cool. They were the thing that was around they've been around for years. This is what was used by pretty much everyone before Google came out with their core Web Vital, their page speed test. So their insights. Lighthouse is another one that you can utilize, but you may as well utilize the page speed insights because it's utilizing Lighthouse anyway. So GT Metrix is great because you get the waterfall. So let's, without further ado, let's do that. Let's test. We'll test the main page of my website. So let's grab that. Now, something to consider when you are utilizing GT Metrix is the server location. Okay, so it's testing from Vancouver. Now, you might have a local business that's situated in Miami and testing from Vancouver. So recruiting a client from Vancouver, if you're a local landscaper, unless they're going to pay you for your plane tickets and everything like that, then it's not really worth it. So depending upon keeping that in mind when you are running this test, you make sure that you observe where the testing is taking place from. Okay, so GT Metrix, according to them, my website's doing really well. And the reason that you want to test this in multiple locations and across different things is because they're going to show us different results. And I'll show you all of this today. So as you can see, you can scroll down and you can start to look. But something that I really like is that you're able to see everything in detail. You can see how much of something there is. So if you've got a lot of Java that's taking up, if your images are too big, the reason for this is, guys, like if you look at my homepage, so we have this basically, it's not a GIF, but it's sort of a GIF. It's shrunken right down. So we're able to still achieve these awesome speeds, but have this cool animation effect here. So we will be removing this, unfortunately, with our new design coming out shortly, but that's how we've been able to achieve it. So it's important when you are building your site that you are considering what you're placing on it, because if you do have big images and big videos, that will slow you down. So let's move on to the next one, which is Pingdom. So Pingdom are pretty cool because when it comes to this tool, it actually gives you a bit more recommendations and it shows you where you fail. So just input that, test from, and you can change your location. So as an example, if I'm working with a client back home in Australia and they want to test their Australian website, well, we're testing it on a server from Vancouver. So the results may be different. They might have an A on GT Metrix, but they might not have an A. They might realistically have an A if they're a Sydney-based business and we were testing from a Sydney-based server. But if we're testing it all the way from Vancouver, that could be a different story. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so you can move this wherever you want. Let's just put it, this is closer to Fort Lauderdale. So we can put that in there and run the tests. So right now, this should be, nobody likes the website. This should be okay, where they're waiting on us. So while we're waiting, guys, I'll let you know a few reasons why your website might go slow. And if you hear some chirps in the background, it's because my lovely wife rescues birds, and we've got a couple of new recruits in the office today, so there might be some chirping going on. but I think it's a great thing she does with her time. And I genuinely mean that. But what you can see right now is that the results have come back, and it's actually giving us not a great result compared to GT metrics. So it's still not bad, but it's saying that we're failing here. We need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. So this is where Pingdom is quite helpful. It can actually put some information in there that is valuable. So, that's why you want to utilize different tools, because they will give you different inputs, and you want to make sure that you're quite consistent. So as you can see, load time 1.2 seconds. Let's see what it is over here. So largest content paint, it's half a second. So realistically, we're still falling within those barriers. But what I'll do is, let's just throw it into another. We'll do the Core Web Vital last because it can crash the page. So I will stick it into this. Now the Webpagetest, this is actually recommended by Google in their webmaster guidelines. They do recommend to utilize these guys. So if that's coming from Google, then I strongly recommend it. And the brilliant thing is you can actually test in different locations, and you can test via mobile or desktop. So that's very, very cool. And you can even click the Lighthouse audit. So that's another thing that is pretty awesome, but we won't do that for the purpose of this. We'll just see the overall site performance. So back to the reason why you might have a slow website. So you might have a video at the top above your fold. So as soon as the first thing that loads on the page, it might be a YouTube video, it might be a GIF, it might be something along those lines, or it might be an image. Try and push those things just below the fold. So below the fold is essentially, as you can see here, yes, I know, we've got a GIF thingy going here, but as you can see, we've optimized it so well that it's not impacting the site. But on your website, what you want to do with images and GIFs is try and move them down here, especially if they're going a lot slower, okay? So you want to push them down below the fold. That's something that you can do to reduce it. Let's jump back over to this. This is probably done. So this is saying that the largest content paint is 2.9, almost 3 seconds, which is after 3 seconds, that's when it can start getting quite bad. Total blocking time is quite high, but first content paint, that's also quite high. So with this web page test, it's more so on the higher end. So that's why it's important to consider always validating that with a different tool, because now we can actually see, well, it's saying, okay, if it's done via a mobile device in Virginia, which is not an area we serve, like we might have a client from Virginia one day, but not today. We mainly deal with Florida and Australian-based businesses. But today, that's how it is. So what we're going to do for the final thing is we're going to check it in the Google Page Speeds Insight. Now with this tool, guys, it is very fragile. This tool can crash your website. So I'm going to place this in here. We're going to cross our fingers. Please cross your fingers. Put some crossed fingers down in the comments below. And we're going to hope that this doesn't crash the browser. All right. So unfortunately, Google's performance tool, and I've made this joke a few times, it doesn't perform well. All right. So I don't really want to mess around with anything too much whilst it is testing it. So with these tools, guys, when you are faced with a slow loading website, there's a couple of things you can do. I'm going to give you a brief overview, but we're currently making a video right now on how to actually make it hum along. You can minify the Java, you can minify the CSS, because they're the biggest issues. You can utilize plugins like WP Rocket. However, be very, very careful if you do run away and install them, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can crash your website, you can break it. So make sure you run a backup on all of your files before you install the plugin, the WP Rocket, or any other plugin, like Nitro package, any of those things. Make sure that you do a backup of all of your files, then install the plugin, because if anything goes wrong, you've got the backup of your website. Okay, So remember, a website is just files. So you need something that's a backup. Okay, so this has loaded now. We're currently at 70, so it's okay. It's not great. It could actually be too. Like, I'm not trying to give a cop out here, but it could be because we've just hit it up from all of these different servers. So there is that going on. We've just been running it, putting it through the gauntlet. So there's a lot going on. So they're saying that the JavaScript is killing us a little bit. So we need to combine a lot of that, the animation content that we're utilizing, which is that loading thing that I was talking about before, essentially the gift. But as you can see, time to interactivity, 8 seconds. That's quite severe. But guys, honestly, if you're at 70 on a mobile device, that's pretty good. Something to consider is the reason we have this is because this is unique and engaging. I've never seen another website do this. And I quite often get comments from business owners, individuals that speak with us saying, I really like this. Where the reason we are getting rid of it is to boost up the speed, because a lot of my competitors, unfortunately, are quite quicker. So with the importance of rank, we need to be able to dominate them there. So we need to make sure that we're doing exactly what our competitors are doing. So unfortunately, we will be removing this, but it has been an awesome eye-catching feature. And that's something you need to consider with your business and the website speed. When it comes to the actual speed of your website, what's more important? Having people sit on the page and watch this type out, which according to our Google Analytics, they do. They will sit there and just watch this type out. And then once they've seen it all, then they start scrolling through. Okay, so keeping people on your page can be a good thing. Now, jumping back to this, I've just given it a second because it can crash the page. So we're still fingers crossing that it doesn't do anything funny, but as you can see, the desktop's passing. Be concerned if your desktop does not pass. If that fails, that's a red flag. You don't want the desktop to fail. Okay, there we go. This is what I was saying, guys. Okay, so just always be careful with this thing. It happens. Yeah, like I said, the performance tool does not perform. So just be very careful. Don't have anything open that's important because it could crash. It could crash on you. Let's get rid of it. No, it's still telling us to wait. There it goes. Okay, so we've gotten rid of it just because it's going to cause us some issues. So some final things that I would touch on is back to this example. With your website, when you're looking at the speed, you will need to update it if your competitors have a faster site than you. So like us, my competitors are in the SEO game, obviously. Now, I've got the positive of it being eye-catching and it retains individuals on the site. So it keeps them on the site. This is unique. It's engaging. It's not just another picture or anything like that. But unfortunately, as you saw, it does bring us down a bit. It brings us right to the border of almost failing. And you have to play that balancing game out when it comes to your website speed. And when you're testing your website speed, you need to evaluate, do I have this eye-catching, awesome thing, or do I have the speed optimized to the point of perfection? Now, I leave this to you, but if my competitor is outranking me, we have the same backlinks, we have the same amount of pages, we have the same content, the same internal links, everything's the exact same. And the thing that's different is their core web vital test, they're getting 100 and 100, and I'm down here getting the 70, so it's just not there yet. It's not failing, but it's just not there. That's when I would start to look at it and go, okay, we need to do something. So I should have answered the question, how to test your website speed. If I haven't, or if you have any questions, if you want to run a speed test with us, just let us know. Put your comments down below. Happy to answer any questions. Happy to have a look at the site and help you out as best as I can. And I hope you have a lovely day. Cheers.